Hello, and welcome to the video. Now, would you believe if I told you that I did that take 3 separate times? I took my chair and I lobbed it across my basement 3 separate times. And you know what's even funnier? I used the first take. I didn't need to throw it 2 extra times, but luckily, this chair is like lined with Minecraft bedrock or something, because it's completely unharmed. Whatever Serta does to make these chairs, you're doing it right. I commend you. And this isn't sponsored, by the way, I just want to clarify that. However, Serta, I mean, if you want to sponsor me, I'll help you. It's a trade offer. You give me a chair with a little sponsorship, and I'll help you sell maybe 2 of them. Consider my offer. But regardless, I'm here to make fun of a company today, which admittedly is probably going to scare off Serta. But don't worry, this is actually justified. There's a good reason to be doing this. I know in the past, I've cried wolf by being like, this company did something absolutely evil. And it's like, I don't know, abusing copyright or selling bottled pee. Shout out Amazon, good stuff. But in this instance, it isn't something where they're doing something within the boundary of the law. The boundary of the law they've probably paid the government to have, but regardless, this is something outside of that boundary. I would even say that this borders on, like, mafia activity. This is stuff you'd see in a comic, The Sopranos, maybe. It's absolute insane actions coming out of a little company you might know as eBay. Yes. When I tell you I spit out my drink when I played that confetti sound and the kids sounded like they were screaming in fear because I sped it up, I'm not lying. There's water on me. I was editing and I sped it up and it sounded like the kids were being like dumped into a lava pit or something. Regardless, back to the video. I had to make an editor's note on that. That was so goddamn funny. eBay had their fragile ego obliterated by a small journalist family who wrote some mean words about them. So then eBay decided to go on a massive harassment campaign and are now losing their CEO. Yes, this isn't like one guy who was hired into like janitor duty who ended up accidentally burning someone's house down because they said something mean. This is actual high-ranking members at the company who are now going to prison because of what they did to this small family. And I wanted to talk about it in a video because it's genuinely absurd. And I just want to say a thank you right off the bat. JJ5, thank you for giving me this topic. He's our resident detective who throws really interesting topics at us. So this was just so interesting to find and read. And my God, are you guys going to enjoy this? So without further ado, what the hell did eBay do? And our victims for today are David and Ina Steiner. They are editors and producers for a journalism company called E-Commerce Bytes. And I gave a quick look at their website by looking up eBay on the site. You can tell right away that they aren't exactly big fans. eBay sellers feel a duty to stand up to bad buyers. Victim impact statement in the United States of America versus eBay Incorporated. Just, they seem to have very, very deep, tight-knit beef with eBay, which is understandable considering the massive harassment campaign they had to endure. Most of these articles came out after the fact. There were a lot of articles that came out before the fact, but that was all the way back in 2019, because that's when the harassment actually went down, but the court case and the actual sentencing didn't happen until very, very recently, which is why this is more a recent topic to come out. And my God, I just have to say something. The articles that I read about this topic just were edging you the whole way through. I know that's like a Gen Z-ass term to use, but I'm not lying when I tell you that, like, throughout the article, they just put quotes like, they put the victims through pure hell, or former eBay employees turned Steiner's world upside down through a never-ending nightmare of menacing and criminal acts. And I'm like, yes, but what did they do, though? But first, I want to list off some of the people who have already gotten, like, their sentencing, because I'm not lying when I tell you these are high-ranking members. I want you to hear their name and their current, like, stance. They're standing in the company, or I guess their former standing in the company. They're currently standing in a prison cell, hopefully, but there's like Brian Gilbert, former senior manager of special operations at eBay's global security team. We have Stephanie Stockwell, former manager of eBay's global intelligence center. This place sounds like a PMC, a private military corporation. What's happening? We have Stephanie Pop, eBay's former senior manager of global intelligence. Veronica Z, a former eBay contractor who was an intelligence analyst in eBay's global intelligence. What are these rankings? There's also some others who pled not guilty, like we have former senior director of safety and security James Bauch, B-A-U-G-A, Bauch, what a name, and former director of global resiliency David Harville. My God, like why does it sound like they're preparing for like the world to end when it's eBay? It's not like we're looking at actual, like NASA or SpaceX. This is eBay we're talking about. And they have a security force and a global resilience agency. Like, what's happening over there? But let me just tell you some of the things that they did to these people, okay? They sent live spiders in a box and live cockroaches from a cockroach dealer, which, by the way, those spiders and cockroaches did not deserve that. What did they do to be sent to someone's house to just be murdered? I feel like they have more right than the eBay people do. But regardless, they also sent them a bloody pig mask and a funeral wreath. Are they threatening physical harm to these people? Which seems to be what they're talking about, because then they sent a book to David saying, it's called Grief Diaries, Surviving the Loss of a Spouse. I'm sorry, eBay, are you insinuating that one of them is going to die because they wrote mean words about you online? Is there a full-fledged, full-size company threatening physical harm because someone said things mean about them online? What? They also threatened to send, because, like, they got emails for some of the things they got sent, which, by the way, I just want to add a fun little note. The things that they were sent were bought over Amazon. eBay, you are an online selling company. Why are you paying your competitor while also hurting these people? You are literally losing in both ways. Apparently, they also lost a pig fetus because they were threatened to be sent a pig fetus via email, and it never ended up arriving. So someone has received a preserved pig fetus, and it was not eBay or Ina and David Steiner, not Steinbeck. Wait, that's actually like a real person, isn't it? Oh, John Steinbeck. He's an American writer. Oh, I don't know. How did his name pop into my head? What? Where did that come from? They also apparently were sending, like, prawn to the people, I assume, to, like, make them turn against each other. Like, why are you ordering prawn online? But, like, at the same time, they received a funeral wreath, death of a spouse book, pig mask. I think they're aware that someone is trolling them at this point. I don't think they're gonna be like, wait, so were you the one that ordered this pig fetus? Where did this come from? How did this happen? And the language these people used when communicating with each other while planning all of this is so goddamn funny to me. Which, yes, by the way, you heard me right. They were texting about doing this. Might as well turn yourself in at that point. The information is out there. You were sending messages over the internet planning this? Why didn't you, like, use Morse code or even letters? Something else. Because, why? And some of the messages they used were so goddamn funny. They'd use code. They'd refer to each other as, like, employee 1, employee 2. Which is real secure, and they'd say things like, we need to take her down, or one of my favorite quotes is, we are going to crush this lady. You heard me right, they're going to crush her, with, I can only assume, a boulder or something. Like, what goes on in these people's heads when they're planning all of this? Do they think they're not going to get caught harassing journalists for writing things about them? How do you not expect to get in trouble for this? Is it because they think they're rich and so they don't have to worry about it? Clearly I'm asking what's going on in their heads when the answer is nothing. There is nothing going on in there. I'm pretty sure if I were to yell into their ear, I'd hear it come out the other side. It's so crazy to me that they were that, like, naive about trolling these people this heavily. And you may be wondering, how did they get caught? Like, how did they eventually find out about these people doing these things to this family? Because, of course, it's goddamn obvious. Like, once you actually look into it, you realize, oh, I said mean things about eBay, and now I'm receiving packages and getting attacked by people who say that they're eBay sellers. Regardless, what happened was they actually had a 3-part campaign. The first part was the trolling, sending things through mail. The second part was Twitter DMs, attacking them over Twitter and doxing them online. Why? Why are you doing these things? Regardless, the third part is what ended up getting them caught fully. So the third part was they were going to break in to these people's homes and install a GPS tracker on their car for reasons unknown. The reason that they gave the police, they had like a contingency if they get caught, was they were working on behalf of eBay because these people had been threatening the CEO with threats of violence, which is quite ironic because they seem to be threatening these people with threats of violence. And what happened eventually was they managed to find connections because one of the people who was going to stalk this person's house, the car they used to get there, they rented and asked eBay for help to afford renting the car. You idiots! What are you talking about? And the thing is, the CEO, the actual top big dog at eBay, was never convicted with anything and never caught to be wrapped up in all this. However, I find it quite ironic that he actually stepped down from his position right after the harassment campaign ended and they got caught. Which is strange, Mr. CEO. Why were you leaving your company? The articles I've read say there's a lot of different variables that could have led to them wanting to quit, but regardless, why did you do it at that specific time? Is it because you might have, I don't know, sent a text about crushing a lady? Were you planning to drop a boulder on a lady, Mr. CEO? Is that what you were planning? Oh, and there was one other, keynote I forgot to include when I was initially recording this, and that was that a few employees at eBay came forward saying that there was apparently a really heavy drinking culture at eBay. They would have you take shots in the morning so you could interact with your fellow employees, which is insane to me. I want to vomit just thinking about that, but also, imagine needing to drink to interact with anyone at your company. I wonder if that was something put forward by the CEO because he just couldn't stand his employees at all whatsoever. But apparently, they claimed that that was what contributed to them making poor decisions like, stalking and harassing someone for talking bad about them. Just insane stuff all around. Regardless, though, as goofy as this story is, it does have a happy ending. They ended up winning the lawsuit and getting a $3 million compensation. So that's pretty swag, an extra free $3 million, and all they had to deal with was a pig fetus in the mail, I guess, or I guess the lack thereof a pig fetus. And the people who are responsible for all of it all have varying different prison sentences that all extend much more than 2 to 3 years. They are going to be there for a hot minute, which is justified. They literally just had a stalking and harassment campaign because they had their feelings hurt online, and they're a big company with a lot of money, so they could just literally dox and attack these people, abusing their ability to know where people live because it's an online ordering company. It's so goofy that this company, who is getting talked poorly about online, does something that would ruin their reputation so much more than just someone writing mean things in an article. I would have never read their article, but now I know they harassed and stalked someone because they wrote this. They actually threw the reputation because of insecurity. It's so incredibly poetic. Regardless, though, I know I am getting out of here for now, and I know now not to mess with eBay. This video is purely all making fun and poking fun. eBay, if you're watching this right now, please don't explode my house. I didn't order anything, so I don't want to get anything. Thank you for being here, though. If you're new, don't forget to subscribe and stick around for future videos. I post things every single day about various goofy things I find online, and this happened to be the target for today. If you want to check any of my past videos, I've posted every day for, I think, 15 or 216 days in a row now. We're approaching 365. Hopefully, we can hit a year. That'll be so exciting. But for now, I'm hitting the road. Thank you guys for being here. Thanks for spending time with me. Of course, like the video to catch me on your homepage more often, and I'll see you next time. And as always, adios, arrivederci, goodbye, good night, and do not mess with eBay.